This is the story of courage that went beyond mere human capability. It's a tale of faith, determination, and reliance on God, a lesson that even the mightiest giants can fall when faced with divine strength. This is the story of David and Goliath, a living testament to what unwavering belief can achieve. Our story begins over 3,000 years ago in ancient Israel. The nation was in a terrible state. Two armies stood toe-to-toe in preparation for war. The Israelites, led by King Saul, and the Philistines, a seafaring people bent on conquering as much land as they could grab. Locked between them was a vast valley, and within the Philistine ranks stood a man so intimidating, so otherworldly, that even the bravest Israelite soldiers shuddered in fear. His name? Goliath. Goliath was not your regular warrior. He was a giant, standing nearly 10 feet tall, covered head to toe in bronze armor that glinted under the hot sun. A spear in his hand seemed more like a weaver's beam, and his shield could block out a man's entire body. Every day for 40 days, Goliath would stride confidently down to the valley, his armor clanging with each monstrous step. He shouted insults at King Saul's army, daring anyone bold enough to fight him in single combat. "Why do you even bother forming your lines, Israelites? Send out one man to fight me. I will crush him under my feet, just like your hopes of victory." But day after day, not a single person took him up on his challenge. Even King Saul and his champions, seasoned veterans of war, couldn't stomach the thought of facing Goliath. All seemed lost, but things were about to change. Across the hills, in a small village called Bethlehem, lived a shepherd named David. David was young, not yet old enough to join Saul's army. But even as the youngest in his family, David had a heart ablaze with faith, a faith that he trusted more than sword or shield. David was no stranger to danger. As a shepherd, he had fought off lions and bears to protect his flock. But now his father Jesse had sent him to deliver food to his brothers, who were stationed in King Saul's army. David was about to step into the center of a divine plan far beyond his imagination. Upon arriving at the battleground, David heard Goliath's booming voice for the first time. He saw the fear and despair in the faces of the men around him. "Who is this Philistine that he dares to insult the armies of the living God?" David exclaimed, his young voice piercing through the murmurs of discouragement. When his brothers tried to silence him, accusing him of arrogance, David stood firm. "I cannot stand by while someone blasphemes God's name," he declared. Word of David's boldness reached King Saul, and the young shepherd was brought before the reluctant king. "You are but a boy," Saul said skeptically. "How can you face a warrior like Goliath?" David's response was profound. "When a lion or a bear came to snatch a lamb, I would strike it and rescue my sheep. The same God who delivered me from them will deliver me from this giant." Stirred by David's conviction, Saul reluctantly agreed but insisted that David wear his own royal armor. However, the weight and bulk of it made David stumble. Facing the king, David removed the armor. "I cannot wear this," he said with clarity in his voice. "I will go with what I know, and what I know is God's strength in my weakness." David approached a stream and picked up 5 smooth stones, placing them into the pouch of his sling. Armed with nothing but faith, he strode boldly into the valley, a stark contrast to the lumbering giant who awaited him. Goliath's laugh echoed as he saw David approach. "Am I a dog, that you come at me with sticks? Come here, boy, and I'll feed your flesh to the birds." But David, unwavering, responded with power beyond his years. "You come against me with sword and spear, but I come against you in the name of the Lord Almighty. Today the world will know that there is a God in Israel." As Goliath charged with his massive strides, David didn't run. He didn't even hesitate. With one quick motion, he reached into his pouch, placed a stone into his sling, and swung it with precision. The stone flew fast and true, striking Goliath directly on the forehead. The giant stumbled, his massive frame collapsing to the ground. Silence fell across the valley as both armies looked on in disbelief. And just like that, David rushed forward, picked up Goliath's sword, and finished the job. The Philistines fled in terror, and the Israelites surged forward with renewed courage. One young boy, armed with nothing but faith and a sling, had turned the tide of battle. David's victory over Goliath was not just a personal triumph. It was a testament to what God can do through those who trust Him completely. So the next time you face a giant in your life, remember David. The size of the obstacle doesn't matter when your faith is placed in the one who is truly mighty. And that's the story of David and Goliath. Courage beyond measure, faith without limits.